Got it? You want a George Blackman-style asterisk, first-person, emotionally charged, PG-rated YouTube-ready story that hooks instantly, grips relentlessly, and ends in cathartic triumph. Here's your asterisk full narrative in the exact structure you requested. Hook pattern interrupt. The day they laughed me out of the conference hall, I swear I could hear the sound of my career snapping in half. One moment I was presenting 10 years of research, my heart pounding with hope. The next, a senior scientist leaned into the microphone and called it asterisk, pseudoscience dressed up in Latin names. Laughter rippled through the audience, not kind laughter, but the sort that says, "You don't belong here." In that instant I realized they weren't just rejecting my work, they were erasing me, and if I didn't fight back I would vanish entirely. Painful departure and relentless pursuit. I walked out into the cold night air, my notes still in my hand, trembling. My colleagues didn't follow me, no one did. That was the last time I stepped into that building. I sold my apartment to clear debts and rented a tiny room above a bakery. And every morning before most people woke, I wandered into the forgotten corners of the city, alleyways, vacant lots, rooftops, searching for any scrap of soil where life might take root. They called it useless gardening. I called it my laboratory. My hands blistered, my clothes smelled of soil and rainwater. I worked alone, cataloguing each plant, testing their medicinal properties, brewing teas for the few neighbors willing to try them. The ridicule didn't stop, friends avoided me, old peers sent pitying emails, but my resolve hardened into something unbreakable. Arduous ascension and profound triumph. The turning point came quietly. Mrs. Alvarez from 3 blocks away came to me with arthritis so bad she could barely hold a teacup. I gave her an infusion from a rooftop-grown herb the textbooks didn't mention. 2 weeks later she was walking to the market without her cane. Word spread. People I'd never met knocked on my door asking for remedies. A local clinic asked to collaborate. Then a journalist showed up, wrote an article titled "Healing in the Cracks of the City." Within months, the spaces I'd cultivated, once derelict, were thriving gardens visited daily by residents, doctors, and even the city council. My research, dismissed as fantasy, was now being cited in urban health studies. The same plants they mocked were improving real lives, and the city's skyline now had streaks of green where there had been only concrete. Cathartic return and poetic justice. When the International Urban Ecology Conference invited me back as a keynote speaker, I almost declined. But I walked into that hall, the same hall that had laughed me out years before, carrying a basket of fresh herbs from my gardens. I told the story of each plant, each person it helped, each space reclaimed. When I finished, the room was silent. Then one by one they stood and applauded, not polite applause, true, sustained recognition. I left the stage knowing I hadn't just proved them wrong. I had turned their dismissal into the very fuel that built my life's work, and in the green veins of every leaf I'd grown, I saw my own revival. If you'd like, I can now adapt this into a high-retention, YouTube-ready script asterisk with pacing cues, emotional beats, and strategic pauses, so your audience stays locked in to the very last second. Do you want me to prepare that next?